Hey guys, it is April from Getting Hygge With It. Today I'm here to do my October wrap up. I had a really good reading month in October. I read a total of 8 books, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that number. Some of them were like 5 stars, some of them were 2 stars. You know what happens. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk to you about The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I have been meaning to read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow for years. This is Washington Irving, and it follows Ichabod Crane, and he lives in this small little town, and everyone in the town is trying to woo this farmer's daughter, and he is definitely included in that, and he's just a quirky character, and the town has this legend of the Headless Horseman, and the Headless Horseman rides at night and kills people, essentially. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. It didn't blow me away. Now, first of all, I should mention that this is short. Like, you could read this in an hour, no problem. I didn't like that it didn't really get scary until like 3/4 of the way in. Like, it took a really long time to lead up to the horseman, and I was like, just bring him in already. I'm ready for the Headless Horseman, come on. But I did really love Ichabod Crane. Like, he was just very humorous, very quirky kind of character, and so I'm very glad that I read it. Next, I read The Kitchen House, and this is 5-star read, easily. Oh my goodness. Now, I did a whole review on that book, and I'll link that somewhere up here or up here. I can't remember where it is. But this book is about a little girl who is Irish. She loses her family in the trek from Ireland to America. So she loses her parents, and she is thrown essentially into slavery. She is bought and she's kept as a servant. And she joins the ranks of other slaves, and she is taken in by this black family who are just the most amazing people in the world, and she witnesses slavery from kind of an outside perspective, seeing that she's Irish and a white girl, and she grows up trying to understand what's going on. It's very confusing to her because she loves her black family as if they are her own. And this is just one of the best stories I've read in a long time. And so because I loved it so much, I went right into Glory Over Everything, which is the sequel to The Kitchen House. And this is another 5-star. Now, I will say, this is not The Kitchen House. This is not as amazing as The Kitchen House, only because The Kitchen House is at this other level for me. It is on its own little cloud 9 that no other book can reach. However, I loved it so much. In the Glory Over Everything, we are following 1 or 2 characters from The Kitchen House, and we follow their continuation of their story. It was wonderful. If you haven't read The Kitchen House or Glory Over Everything, like, just go now and read it, because my gosh, I loved them both. So next up, I wanted to talk to you about The Seance. Now, I chose The Seance for my book club pick for October for the Dying to Read book club. You are welcome to join us. We're going to be reading Little Deaths next in November. So now The Seance, sadly, just didn't do it for me. I gave it 2 stars, and this was meant to be a ghost story, and it just lacked all scariness. First of all, I should mention that the back of the book, the little blurb on the back of the book, mentioned that we'd be following Constance and her journey moving to a place with a ghost in it, like this old mansion. And so I was ready for that story, and what ended up happening was, I think we followed Constance for about 50 pages, and then we hear stories from other people who lived in this home after that, and you don't get back to Constance until the very end. And that annoyed me. Like, I have to be honest with you, halfway through it, I nearly DNF'd it, and I kind of did because I really just skimmed the rest. I was not enjoying it. It was not for me. I just want more eeriness out of a ghost story, and this had none of that. Next, I read Dusk or Dark or Dawn or Day, and I gave this 3 stars. Now, I never know how to say her name. Shannon Maguire. She wrote Every Heart a Doorway, which I adored. Now, this book is a standalone novella, and again, it's very, very short. You could read this in one sitting if you wanted to, and it is a ghost story in New York about ghosts that just start going missing. Now, our main character is a ghost, and she needs to get to the bottom of why all of these ghosts in New York are going missing, and she's the only one who can stop it. And I just loved the concept of this book. I also really liked the writing of her books. Just generally, I think she's a great writer. That said, I thought that there was too much world building. There was so much world building, like in the last 20 pages, we were still getting information about ghosts and world building about ghosts. And I just thought, okay, if you're gonna have that much world building, you need to make this a longer book. It was just too many details for such a small novella. I really think that she should have made it a longer book. And it's interesting because I don't think she writes very long books generally. I think most of them are under 200 pages for sure. So I don't know if it's just not her style, but this book required just a longer book. It just did. Next, I read The Snowman, and I gave this 4 stars. And I have to say, I'm so excited because if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I don't usually like detective books at all. But this was just the right amount of creepy and scariness that I got totally sucked in. And it's exciting because I've already started collecting more from this series because it just feels like I found one at least that I like, and now I have faith that I will find more that I like. The story itself is petrifying. It's about a serial killer who murders people and then places a snowman outside of their homes, and then you find the bodies randomly. And it's so disturbing. So I kind of go into disturbing books like that thinking that it's going to be a thriller. And I was definitely on the edge of my seat. Like, I was flipping the pages. I read this book really quickly. That said, I wasn't scared at all. I also read The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman and gave it 4 stars. This is a prequel to Practical Magic, which I still have to read. That is definitely happening next October because I liked this so much. This follows this family of witches, and when the women fall in love, their lovers meet very untimely and sad deaths. And so the rule is essentially don't fall in love, and that's a very hard thing to do. And we follow these sisters and also a brother as they grow up, and they are falling in and out of love. And I just loved the writing style. It's so magical. It is really and truly magical writing. I also did a review on this one, so I will link that somewhere as well for you to go and check out because it was great. Now, sadly, I am sorry because we're ending on kind of a sour note. I read The Girl Before and I gave it 2 stars. Now, I was so excited about The Girl Before because this is about a girl who moves into this apartment. And the apartment is very gorgeous, like it's very modern. It was designed by this very famous architect. And she moves in, but there are like a lot of rules that she has to follow. She can't have pets, and she can't, you know, bring in books and all of these weird things that I personally could never do. Clearly, as you can tell, I think I would just not do well in that kind of scenario. But she moves in and she starts hearing rumors about the girl before, who had lived there before and died. And she starts to try and uncover what happened. Now, I love the premise of this book so much, and I really wanted to love this book, but there was so much 50 Shades of Grey grossness, if I'm being honest, that that did not work for me. I also thought the ending was like ridiculous. I just hated the ending. I thought it was stupid. Yeah, it was not for me. I am sorry to say I did not like it one bit. So those are the books that I read in October. What was the best book that you read in October? I would love to know, so leave that in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!